Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Everything organized with the translation? Everything is working out? Okay.
Does everyone has a translation who needs? Hat jeder, der Deutsch übersetzen braucht, ein Gerät zu übersetzen?
Okay, good. Thank you. So today we will read a text from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 56. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madhyapashraya mat prasadat avapnoti sarvatam paramavyayam. You can imagine we are now in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. We are now very close to the chariot of Krishna and Arjuna, and we are listening. What is Krishna telling to Arjuna? Lord Krishna said, though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotees, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Purport. The word Mat Vyapashraya means under the protection of the Supreme Lord. To be free from material contamination, a pure devotee acts under the direction of the Supreme Lord or his representative, the spiritual master. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. Yes? Yeah, it is 1856. It's a short purport, I'm almost at the middle. Okay. There is no time limitation for a pure devotee. He is always 24 hours a day, 100% engaged in activities under the direction of the Supreme Lord. To a devotee who is thus engaged in Krishna consciousness, the Lord is very, very kind. I'll put it 2 times. Very, very kind. In spite of all difficulties, he is eventually placed in the transcendental abode of Krishna Loka. He is guaranteed entrance there. There is no doubt about it. In that supreme abode, there is no change. Everything is eternal, imperishable, and full of knowledge. So the Lord speaks to Arjuna and he tells him about his pure devotees, how he is protecting his pure devotees and how ultimately he will take his pure devotees into transcendental abode. And Prabhupada explained that this transcendental abode or the spiritual world is the place of eternity, place where it's full of spiritual knowledge, of eternity and bliss. So the verse one more time. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. Just recite a small prayer before starting to speak. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, with the torchlight of knowledge, has opened my eyes. Therefore, I offer him my respectful obeisances. This is a beautiful verse where Lord Krishna explains how he will deal with his devotees. He will give them full protection and he is ready to take them to his spiritual abode. And that's a principle that shows that the Lord is very kind and always acts for the welfare of his devotees. Maybe we have already heard something like this. But how much did we chew on it? How much did we reflect and appreciate the extent of the Lord's mercy and kindness toward every one of us? Sometimes there are good things that we don't pay attention. So many things we take for granted in this world. They are just passing, they are given to us, and we are just so distracted by so many things that very often we forget actually how kind is the Lord. So today's lecture will be a reflection to help us meditate and reflect and appreciate how much the Lord is kind toward his devotees. My spiritual master explained that when children are raised with love by their parents, children become very strong individuals. And in the same way, for the devotees, those who are aware of the Lord, of the love and kindness of the Lord, they will grow as very strong devotees. Today we will see what is the extent of the Lord's kindness. Actually, we cannot even measure because it's beyond our ability. But we will overlook a little bit the range of the Lord's kindness. We will see examples of devotees who receive the kindness of the Lord, and we will see how we can become more conscious of this fact in our own life. So, what is the extent of the range of the Lord's kindness? One of the points of the kindness of the Lord is that he made something very special regarding any spiritual activities. He made them eternal. He made the rule that whatever spiritual activities a human being will do will last forever. In opposition to any material activities who are actually going to disappear, every spiritual activities that we do is actually forever. It's never diminished or never lost. And that Bhagavad Gita 2:40, Lord Krishna said to Arjuna that in this endeavor there is no loss nor diminution. Nothing is ever lost. Every mantra that we chant is a step forward in the direction of the spiritual kingdom, and that never can be removed, never can be taken away from us. And Prabhupada, in the purport of this verse 240, explained that the material work, all the work that we do in the material dimension, they need to be completed in order to be successful. But in spiritual realm, even if the work is not completed, it's already successful. It's already actually eternal. It's already accepted by the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada writes that devotional service, this service to the Lord, is so important that even performed in a very small way, it gives a supreme result. So you do just a little bit, and it gives a supreme result. That's not nothing. That's quite a piece of information, and that should be actually encouraging us in our spiritual practice, or to start and take spiritual practice, knowing that here I'm going to do something eternal. There is a story when Lord Krishna was on this planet Earth. When he was a young child, it's actually quite similar to Christian tradition, that actually when the Lord appears in this world, there are sometimes some demons who want to kill him. So when the Lord Krishna was on this planet Earth, there were also some demons who were there trying to kill Krishna. And one of them, that was the first one coming close to Krishna, her name was Putana. I think many of you might know about Putana. But there is a backstory of Putana. In her previous life, her name was Ratnamala. And she was the sister of Bali Maharaj. May I ask you, is anyone here in the temple for the first time and do not understand? Yes? Okay, 2 persons. So I will try to frame it a little bit so that you can understand nicely the story. So Ratnamala was the sister of Bali Maharaj, and Bali Maharaj was a great king. But he was a king that was in the side of the demons, the bad side, if we can say like this. So Ratnamala was the sister of that king, and the Lord came as Bali Maharaj, as Vamanadev, to take back the kingdom from the demoniac king. So when Ratnamala saw Vamanadev, who was actually the Lord, an incarnation of the Lord, she fell in love with Vamanadev. Wow, the Lord is so beautiful. He was appearing in the disguise of a dwarf, a small boy, and he was just beautiful, because that's the nature of the Lord, is extremely beautiful. So Ratnamala, she saw this boy, and she felt, he's so cute and so beautiful. I would like to be his mother. I would like to give him the milk, my milk. I would like to feed him with my milk. Later on, as the story unfolds, Vamanadev, the incarnation of the Lord, took back the whole kingdom of her brother, who was on the side of the demon, and she got angry. She said, what? I will feed him with milk, but I will feed him with poison also, and I will revenge that he took all the kingdom of my brother. Now, when Krishna appeared in this world, this sister appeared as Putana, and she was feeding Krishna with her breast milk, but there was some poison inside. But the point of the story is that the Lord knew when she came to feed him with poison, he knew what she was doing. But because she had the desire still to feed him, she still wanted to give a little something to him, even though it was poison. Krishna said, I will accept it, I will take it. And when he was drinking the breast milk, drinking the poison, all the Brijbasis who were around, they were very happy, because this Putana looked like a goddess. In fact, this is a goddess of fortune. Krishna is drinking from the goddess of fortune. But she was the demon with the poison from the breast milk. So Krishna sucked everything. The poison and the milk. He took everything. And of course, he don't have anything to fear from poison, because he's the Supreme Lord. But the point of the story is that even though she came to Krishna to offer him something that was poisonous, Krishna said, at least you want to offer me something. so I will accept it. And that's a very beautiful point, that everything that we do, even if there is not the right motivation behind, the Lord will see actually just our attempt to serve, and He will take that. He will take that no matter what. Just even to have the desire. We just have the desire to serve the Lord already take it. The Lord already accept the full service that we are just thinking to offer to Him. Now, can you see the extent of the mercy of the Lord? And especially if we see through the window of Srila Prabhupada, who came to this world, who arranged that so many books are distributed. He's organizing that everyone get a chance to make a step towards Krishna, just by buying the book, just by touching the book, just by hearing the Maha Mantra. So many souls are doing eternal steps toward that eternal life. This is wonderful. This is amazing. All of those living entities get a chance to make an eternal step toward the Lord. So this is one of the extent of the Lord's kindness. We can see also the extent of the Lord's kindness of all what He's giving us in our life. He's giving us a body that allows us to actually do service. He's giving us air to breathe, food to eat, eyes to see. All what we have is actually gifts from the Lord. Often we need to become sick to really appreciate what it means to be healthy. But most of the time, actually, we take everything so much for granted. But today we reflect that actually all those things are gifts that are given to us by the Lord. Therefore, Prabhupada teaches us that everything we are using in this world, we should give it back to the Lord. We should dedicate it to the Lord. We should use it as a service to the Lord. He is appearing in so many ways to help all living entities to move forward. He doesn't want us to rot in the material world. He wants us actually to move forward and one day come back to the spiritual world. He is appearing as the deity form of the Lord. He is appearing with the holy name. He is appearing in the Vedic scriptures. He is appearing as the sadhus and saintly persons whom we can meet in this world. So many ways the Lord is trying to help the living entities to move forward on their spiritual journey. And this, especially this association with saintly person, this is our saving grace. This is what will give us the knowledge, the enthusiasm, the understanding to move forward on our spiritual journey. So He's so much kind that He wants all of us to go back to the spiritual world. And there is this story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the story of Gajendra, who was actually in the form of an elephant, and he was in a great distress. He was attacked by a crocodile who was trying to kill him. And at that time he prayed to the Lord. And here we hear one of the prayer of Gajendra. Gajendra said, even though I am an animal like an elephant, still I surrender to you, my Lord. Certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. So he said, my Lord, you are so merciful that incessantly you are trying to deliver me. And Srila Prabhupada writes a very stunning purport on this verse. Prabhupada said, it is not that Krishna becomes attentive to the living entities only when we offer prayer to Him. Even before we offer prayer to the Lord, He becomes is trying incessantly to deliver the living entities. So even before you start to pray, the Lord has the desire to deliver us, to deliver the living entities. He incessantly tries to deliver us. So Krishna is there in the heart, and he always wants to direct all living entities so that they get to the supreme happiness. Prabhupada said, he's never lazy in regard to our deliverance. And even though we refuse often to accept the Lord's help, he do not become angry with us. He keeps trying, he keeps trying. And the last point of Krishna's extent of Krishna's kindness is that actually he accepts to be with us all the time. He's all the time in the heart of the living entities. Even bad people, even sinful people, people who do atrocities, still the Lord always remains in their heart and is all the time with them. And there is actually, if you contemplate on this point, there is no one closer to us than the Lord. Even this book that is very close to me is not as close as the Lord is close to me, because the Lord is in the heart of all living entities. And there is a story that my spiritual master was explaining when Srila Prabhupada was in this world. There was one of his disciples who was trying to preach in China, and he was alone in China, and he wrote a letter to Prabhupada and said, I'm alone here preaching, can you please send someone to help me? And Prabhupada received that as a letter, and Prabhupada had a very astonishing answer. Prabhupada said, what is this alone? Vaishnava is never alone. You should know you are never alone. And Prabhupada said, when I came to New York, I seemingly was alone, but I was never alone. My spiritual master and Lord Krishna was always with me. Of course, after Prabhupada sent some help to these devotees so that he could do his service better. But that's also a very beautiful point to contemplate, that we are actually never alone, that the Lord is there all the time with us in our heart as our well-wisher. It sounds that very often we are missing the most important things in life. Everything is just given to us, but we are a little like spoiled children. We cannot appreciate and comprehend the extent of the Lord's mercy. So today that's our chance. Today we will look at it. I want to read just a few sentences that what my spiritual master was writing to his disciple. There was like a great festival in our temple, and there were many devotees did many services. My spiritual master wanted to thank them, and he summarized also what he wanted to say into the festival. So he said, during our time together, my purpose was to remind you that Krishna is always very close. Just a thought or a prayer away. With this awareness, our spiritual life can remain vibrant. During my presentations, I emphasized a fine-tuning of our attitude toward Krishna. Try to see Krishna as a close friend, not a distant God. As Krishna himself confirms, I, Krishna, I am the only friend who can actually do good to all beings. Krishna is always present in the background, whether we acknowledge him or not. We can depend on him like children rely on their loving parents, who always keep a watchful eye over their children. As the years go by, I notice many changes around me, both in our movement and in the outside world. However, only when I reflect on Krishna's mercy toward the fallen do I become increasingly hopeful and enthusiastic. So now we go to the next part of our lecture, examples of how the Lord is kind to his devotees. And there are many in the scriptures. And we know from the Srimad Bhagavatam that actually we hear from the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna and Arjuna had many brothers, the Pandavas, and we can hear very often how Krishna was kind to the Pandavas, how he protected them in so many different situations. There was Bhishma, who was a great warrior, and at the time of his death, Krishna came, just at the time of his death, came just in front of him and gave him his audience before Bhishma will leave his body. We hear of Draupadi, who was attacked and by evil people who wanted to disrobe her, to take away her clothes in the assembly of people. And Krishna came to save her and gave her unlimited sari. The evil people were trying to remove a piece of cloth, and Krishna was giving unlimited amount of sari, so that there was no end to that. There are many instances when Krishna was in this world and living in Vrindavan. There are so many dangers, so many demons coming to attack, and all the time Krishna was protecting, saving his devotees. What about us? Is that happening sometimes? Do we sometimes feel the presence of the Lord, the protection of the Lord? The kindness of the Lord? I think for those of us who are a little bit reflective, there are so many instances where we can see the hands of the Lord and the protection of the Lord. Some they might say, oh, this is just chance, this is just coincidence. But for the devotees, coincidence do not exist. He can see the hands of the Lord in all what is happening, and he can see not only the hands, but the protection and the kindness of the Lord. The devotee can even see the kindness of the Lord in difficulties, when moments are difficult, because he can see, here the Lord wants me to grow, here the Lord wants me to move forward, therefore he's sending me some challenges to make me strong, to make me move forward. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gives many promises. He said, I will provide what you lack, and I will protect what you have. He said, I will take away all your karma, do not fear. He said, I will give you the understanding by which you can come to me. So, many promises Lord Krishna gives. And Queen Kunti said, we should have full faith in those promises. Queen Kunti said, one day the sun might become cold. One day the moon might become hot. But your promise will never fail. Your promise will never change. Of course, Krishna gave all those promises by saying, to my devotee, and that means we should also make our step from our side and try to become a devotee. Yeah? Okay, last point for today's lecture, how to become more conscious of this fact. I think we all agree that now we are conscious of it, we hear about it, and we think about it, and we might feel some gratitude and happiness in our hearts to see how the Lord is kind. How can we become more aware of that tomorrow or the after tomorrow when we go through our busy life? So now I'm asking you a question and I'm expecting an answer from you. Now I'm making it a little interactive. Who is willing to try? Actually, there is no failure. Don't be afraid to try. But think of it deeply. How can we be more conscious of the kindness of the Lord? Yes?
Be more conscious of God's presence in our day-to-day life, along with jobs and work that we need to do. Best way is chanting.
Chanting. Okay, good. Very nice. Who else? I mean, I could challenge you a little bit. You agree?
Yeah.
Because you might be chanting, but not thinking that the Lord is, not thinking of the kindness of the Lord. You might be chanting and thinking, oh, what will I eat today, this morning? So how can you chant, even when you chant, how can you be more conscious of His kindness?
Well, there are so many ways only when we're chanting and we're not having the other thoughts in our head. It's just the beauty of the sun, or I don't know, just the people, their faces. It's just very, it's difficult to explain. It's just there. I mean, being there, it feels like that actually I'm chanting, and when I'm not there and I'm just everywhere, then I feel like, okay, I need to work on myself.
Thank you. It's actually a tricky question. It's not an easy one. It's not an easy one. I hope it's okay that I was challenging you a little bit. Yes?
When I come home, I will make a note where I don't know exactly, but I will make maybe a heart or write a little, and I will put it, I don't know, floor.
On the fridge, maybe.
Yeah,
I place you can see.
In a room in the center of my flat, where whenever I walk there, in another room or anywhere, I see this, or something like a clipboard there.
Okay, very nice. Auntie.
I was also thinking, because we heard, so by hearing that possibly tomorrow we will look for those things. So if we are, if we hear and we are remember always that the Lord is kind, and we try to see His kind all and just don't see His kind.
Can everyone hear what Vejanti said? No. Vejanti said if we hear actually from the scriptures, or because now we are hearing in the lecture, so it will make some input on us and it will stay with us, maybe after the lecture or maybe tomorrow we will still remember. So when we hear, it will help us to contemplate on that. Okay? Yes?
I can take a time on a day when I will reflect on myself, what maybe happened good to me, and then think about it as Krishna's mercy.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. That's actually the answer I was hoping for. It's actually that we take some time to reflect on, that we chew on. We take time to reflect on the kindness of the Lord. There was a story of a Brahmana in South India. I think many of you know this story. This Brahmana was illiterate. He was not able to read the scriptures. But his guru had asked him to read Bhagavad Gita. So he had Bhagavad Gita, and he was just trying to fulfill the order of his guru and was trying to read, but he was illiterate. He was not able to read. And people were making fun of him. They were saying, oh look, he's not able, he's trying, he's Brahmana, but he's illiterate. Ha ha ha. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this Brahmana, he noticed that this Brahmana had tears in his eyes. And he asked this Brahmana, why are you crying? And the Brahmana said, when I remember that Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord, became the chariot driver of Arjuna, that Krishna, the Supreme Lord, became the servant of his devotee, this make me cry. I think we all heard this story, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you are the one who really understood Bhagavad Gita. Many others did not understand Bhagavad Gita. Now I was reflecting, we might hear also that Krishna is very kind, he was driving the chariot of Arjuna, but there are no apparent move us, tears start to flow. Nothing's really. Why was the Brahmana so moved? And why are we so unmoved to hear that the Lord, the Supreme Lord, is the servant? Become the servant of his devotee, want to serve his devotee. Because it goes for us. But the Brahmana was contemplating that for a long time. He was really chewing on it. He was thinking very, very deeply on this kindness of the Lord. My spiritual master was for sometimes following a macrobiotic diet. And in macrobiotic diet, you eat a lot of brown rice. That you have to chew a lot. And they say actually you have to chew around 15 times per bite. And then you have actually the sweetness of the rice that comes out. Actually, who is good with the sound system? All you are good, huh? There are some feedback coming from time to time. You can multitask. So sometimes feedback is coming. Little sensitive is
Going to put it closer to you.
okay. Yeah, sure. Hare Krishna. Yeah, that's good. So in the macrobiotic diet, they say that you have, as more as you chew, as more actually the sweetness comes. I think you can put a little softer. Isn't it? Yeah. Okay, good. Super. Thank you so much. So, as more as you chew, as more as the sweetness comes out. And it's the same with this understanding of Krishna's kindness. As more as we chew on it, as more as we reflect on it, and think on it, and imbibe it in our heart, as more as actually we will become moved and feel gratitude toward the Lord for all what He's giving us. So I like to end today's lecture with a little story, and this is the story of a Brahmana, another Brahmana. His name was Sudam. And in the temple, when you go up the third floor, there is a beautiful, beautiful painting of Sudam Vipra. Sudam was a Brahmana who was very poor. And he was just living by begging food. And his wife, he was very poor, but he was very learned and very self-controlled. He knew how to control his mind perfectly. And his wife was feeling sad because she did not have any ingredients to cook for him, to feed him. So she knew that Sudam was a good friend of Lord Krishna. So she said to Sudam, she approached him and she knew it would not be easy. Because if my husband at all is begging, the only things he's begging for is begging for blessings and devotion. If he's able to beg, he's only begging for that. So she knew it would not be easy to convince him to go to Lord Krishna and beg him for some money and some financial support. So she approached him a little bit like, hopefully it will work. And she said, do it for me. I feel so bad that I cannot feed you properly. Can't you go to Krishna? He is the husband of the goddess of fortune. He has all the wealth of the world. For him, it's a crumb to give you what we need. And in plus, he loves the Brahmana. And you are a Brahmana. He will surely give you some money. Please go to Lord Krishna and ask him for some money. Sudam did not like the idea of begging from the Lord, but he liked very much the idea of going and paying a visit to Lord Krishna. Because in the past, he had spent time with Lord Krishna. They were in the same school. They were in the same Gurukul, the Gurukul of Sandipani Muni. So Krishna said, wow, what a wonderful idea. Yes, of course I will go. Shushila was amazed. Wow, he accepted so easily to go and beg from the Lord. She did not know that he would not beg and he would just go and pay a visit to his friend Krishna. So Sudam said, yeah, but I need to bring something to my Lord, but look in the cupboard if you find something, but nothing, empty, fully empty. So Lord Krishna had to go to the neighbors and beg some food to give as a gift to Lord Krishna, and he got some flat rice, second class flat rice, that he took to offer to Lord Krishna. And he had around 3 days walk from the place where he was to Dwarka. And when he arrived to Dwarka, where Lord Krishna was residing, there were palaces. And he was amazed because there were many guards, but no one told him anything. He could just enter, like mystically, he could enter into the palace of Lord Krishna. And as he was coming inside and more inside, he was feeling overwhelmed by ecstatic love in his heart. And sometimes he even had to stop, just could not move. He was just feeling this very, very spiritually loving energy of Lord Krishna. And then suddenly, from a back room, Lord Krishna saw his old friend Sudam coming. And Lord Krishna stood up and went to embrace Sudam. Sudam, is it you? We did not see since so long. Please come in. And he took Sudam in the inner chambers. Usually when you have guests, you keep them in the guest room or in trance or like this. But he took Sudam in his own room and he set him on his own bed. And then Lord Krishna washed the feet of Sudam. Lakshmi Devi, the wife of Lord Krishna, was amazed to see, wow, Krishna is giving so much respect to this poor Brahmana. His clothes are full of holes. The veins are coming out of his body. He's so emaciated. And look, my husband is worshipping this Brahmana. The Lord was waving lamps around. So Lakshmi said, I also have to worship this Brahmana. She took the chamara and she was worshipping Sudam with the Brahmana, with the chamara. Then Krishna at the end was giving me sandalwood paste, arati, washing the feet, and at the end he gave him a cow, a young cow that gives a lot of milk. And then Lord Krishna approached Sudam and said, do you remember? First, how are you? Did you got a suitable wife? And do you remember those times when we were serving together, our spiritual master? Do you remember, Sudam, the blessing that our spiritual master gave us after our training? Anyone remember what was the blessing of Sandipani Muni to his students after studying? May the Vedic knowledge that you have learned from me always be living in you, always be alive in you. So and so forth. They were discussing, spending time, and after some time Sudam thought, okay, now I have seen my Lord, we have discussed, I got all the blessings, I had so much happiness and love. Now should be maybe the time I should take my leave, or I should not take too much time to Krishna. Krishna said, Sudam, did you bring a gift? Did you bring something for me? And Sudam felt so embarrassed when he saw all this luxury and all this wealth in the palace. He felt, how can I give this puffed rice to Krishna? This is too low class. Krishna said, you brought me something. What do you have there in the corner of your child? It's for me, no? And then Sudam said, yes. he could not hide it. And the Lord took this puffed rice and was eating it. And the goddess of fortune who was looking at that, actually was Rukmini, was looking at that, and she felt, this is unfit for my Lord. This will give pain. The stomach of my Lord is so soft, and this dry, broken, flat rice will give pain. So she said, stop, my Lord. And the Lord was eating and looked at Rukmini like, why should I stop? The gift of Sudam is full of love. This gift is full of love. So Rukmini said, we have many servants who also should take of want this flat rice. Don't eat everything for you. Don't eat everything for your own. We have to share with others. Stop. She was smart. So Lord Krishna stopped, and after some times, he accompanied Sudam to the door of the palace, and then Sudam went back home. And Sudam felt so happy. He felt so happy. I could go and give something to the Lord, and the Lord did not spoil me by giving me anything in exchange. Okay, I have a cow. I got a cow. That's nice. That's enough. That's enough. That's all what I need. Now, in the meantime, you remember it was around 3 days of walk. When Sudam was going back, when he was on his travel, one morning, his wife woke up in her house, and her house looked totally different. And her house has many rooms, was very, very well furnished, was very, very beautiful. That was a totally new house. And then she looked, she tried to open the doors in the house, and she found the bathroom with a mirror. Wow. And she looked herself in the mirror, and she was young and beautiful. And she saw their dresses, everything is there. And then she understood, that must be the result of my husband visiting Lord Krishna. That must be the blessings of Lord Krishna. So she was very, very jubilant, very, very happy. She started to cook many preparations for her husband. Remember, that was her main dilemma, that she could not feed properly her husband. So everything was full of grocery, ghee, and everything. She was cooking and singing, and she was so happy to see the Lord has fulfilled her desire. Now when Sudam came home, he did not find his house. Where is my hut? There is a huge building here, but my hut is, there was some real estate dealings happening here during my absence, that now my hut is not there anymore. And then suddenly you see beautiful young people singing and coming in this direction and welcoming him. And then he saw a beautiful lady coming. Patti, my husband. Shushila, is it you? Yes, it is me. And he, at that time, he understood this is Lord Krishna's miracle. And there is the Acharyas, they give a comment. They say that Krishna did not, because at that time when Sudam saw Shushila like this, at that time his body also changed. He was so emaciated, but he got a little bit chubby, little bit chubbier, like this. And his clothes were beautiful, changed, and he became also younger. And the Acharya said that the Lord waited that Sudam came back to change him also. Otherwise, they would not have been able to recognize each other, Shushila and Sudam. So he waited like that time. And then Sudam was very happy, but Sudam understood the Lord is maybe challenging me, because I might actually become attached now to the comfort and wealth that I am. But actually, before that, Sudam was attached to be a poor person. And now the Lord was purifying this attachment of being a poor person by giving him all the wealth. There is one last comment I want to say, and then we end. Sorry, I was saying we will end a little earlier. But there is a beautiful mention, and here I think I need to get back to my notes. This is a comment of the Acharyas. Yes, I remember now how it is. Why did Krishna not give all this wealth to Sudam directly? He could have given him good basket of gold coins, and he could have rewarded him directly. And the Acharya says that Krishna felt the offering of Sudam is more than anything I can give him back. Because he gave me even what he did not have. he had to actually go to beg. So what he gave me is actually more precious than anything I can give him. So the Lord felt embarrassed. I don't want to give him like this. I will arrange to give him when he's going back, because I feel all what I give him is not having as much love as what he gave me. This is very profound and very, very beautiful. So this was for today's lecture. We were contemplating on the extent of the Lord's mercy, how the Lord arranged that every spiritual practice, every spiritual things we do is actually going to give eternal result, how the Lord is kind and all what He's giving us, and in plus how much He's actually eager to make us grow, to make us move forward in our spiritual journey. And we were hearing very shortly about examples. There are millions of that in the scriptures of how the Lord gave protection and kindness, expresses kindness to the living entities. And at the end, we were thinking of how we can be more aware of the Lord's kindness in our life. And the answer was, take a little time to reflect. It takes time to actually be grateful and reflect and observe all what is given to you in your life. So I thank you very much. Do we take a few questions? Yeah? Okay.
Während mal hier,
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Schalter am Mikrofon jetzt on.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. One question is that we always hear or even read that Krishna is just in things which are offered with love. But in the case of Putana, he accepted the offering even if it was with evil intention.
Yeah. That's a comment.
Yes, maybe you can elaborate how, or are there some exceptions, or it's just a leela?
Yeah. It's actually ultimately what the Lord wants is the love of the living entities. And even in the story of Putana, in the back life, as Ratnamala, she felt love for Vamanadev. She felt, oh, I want to serve him. I want to give him my milk. So after, even though she changed her mind because of the circumstance, there was one small moment where she had this positive, loving inclination to the Lord. And that's what the Lord looked for. And even if it's just very tiny and very small, the Lord is going to take and is going to accept. But this is really what is interesting for the Lord. Yes, everything else, the only thing He wants is actually the love of His devotees. So even if it's just a thought, even if it's just, okay, I want to know Him a little bit more, or I want to serve Him one day, this the Lord is taking immediately, and He will arrange that it will be fulfilled. Thank you. Would you like to say something more on this question? No? Any other questions?
Irgendjemand eine Frage? Gerne auch von den Deutschsprachigen. Ich kann gerne übersetzen. Any further questions?
So it's okay even if there is no question. I think maybe the fact that there is no question, I will ask you 3 minutes, please sit down, because I think we had quite of a deep topic today. So I would ask you to just close your eyes, just for 2-3 minutes. And I want you to just reflect on all what you have heard. And I would like you to think and look if you can find trace of the Lord's kindness in your own life. Explore how many things you can be grateful that the Lord is giving you. please offer a prayer to the Lord. A prayer as sincere as you can, and express your gratitude for all His kindness in your life. Ask the Lord for the ability to be more conscious of His kindness. Ask the Lord for the blessings to see His hands in our life. Make your prayer as deep and heartfelt as possible. Eyes. The Lord has heard all of you, all at once. So now we can ask Gauradesh or Prabhu to make, I think there are some announcements to be done.
Yes, please.
So thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for being here. I hope it was valuable and something is sticking and will stay with you for a few days. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for this wonderful, such a very incredible kindness of the Lord. So we have seen such wonderful examples and realizations Prabhuji have shared to all of us. I'm sure everybody is touched with this wonderful katha and the stories